Welcome to Mining Review Africa, DRC Mining Week 2026. Today I'm speaking to Tekla Meli from MMG. Tekla, welcome.
Thank you very much.
In today's mining landscape, inclusion is increasingly seen as a driver of performance rather than a social obligation. How do you see the shift shaping the future of the sector in the DRC?
So hopefully we might reach a level where we actually focusing on talking business, because now we might be also looking at some aspect like gender, but in my view that's no longer a reason or something that might be put into discussion. So we need to look at performance, how we are adding value into the sector, regardless who is doing what. That's really what I think.
While women represent only a small shape of the workforce, the real gap lies in access to leadership and decision-making roles. What are the key barriers that still need to be addressed?
The first one, I think, in our environment is the cultural one. So we still have people that think there are things that female should be excluded of, and that barrier, even in the environment where we are like a company which is a global one, we still have people, local people, that think this is not for women. So that barrier is the first one. And the second one, I think, is that's intentional action plan that we need to put in place to move from our speech, because we have very good speech around all this inclusion, but concretely we don't have an action plan that is frameworking the way we are implementing the decision that we're taking. So we might have that as a barrier as well, that lack of conscious and intentional engagement into putting in place what we are discussing in terms of gender and diversity and inclusion. Yeah, I think that's probably the two I can say, and maybe the third one is to be sure that what we are putting in place and is something that can be accompanied with accountability. So we need to make sure that, okay, we have discussed this today, we have some recommendation, but next step is to make sure that, okay, what have been done since our last discussion. I think that's something that we need to have, because the barrier now is we speak, we discuss, and that's it.
Yes. At this year's DRC Mining Week, MMG is moving beyond showcasing its internal gender initiatives. How is the company supporting a broader ecosystem, particularly through partnerships with WIM-DRC, to advance women's access to entrepreneurship and financing?
So first of all, internally, what MMG is doing is to making sure that we have a framework where females are trained, are being made able, or the capacity is being increased internally, opportunity are made available internally. But when we look at outside the company, where we want and we are really engaged to play a broader role, is having an impact on the overall environment ecosystem, as I said. So we might not be able to have an influence or a strong influence into the entrepreneurship area, but when we are supporting the Women in Mining platform, we think that through our support we are making it happen. So when they have some projects that are linked to the funding of entrepreneurship in the area, we might support them in putting together people that might assist in that. So we are really engaged to work together with women in mining, support them in their project, and that can have an impact, a very good impact on the entrepreneurship and economy.
Through these initiatives, more than 100 women entrepreneurs have been exposed to the new pathways for empowerment. What does economic empowerment mean in practical terms for women in the mining value chain today?
So first of all, I think is the access to employment, and also making sure that we are preparing women to access those opportunities, so employability as well. And the second one I would say is giving more flexibility in how they can access fundings when they have some projects, because currently the system is a bit tough. There is already a gap between information access. Males and females are not well informed at the same level, and that makes it difficult for females to be put in a good position to get fundings. And the third one, I think, is the way we provide access to female in terms of subcontracting opportunities. So currently we have a system where if you are not influent in the environment, you might not be able to get access to those opportunities. So it's important now, I think, to look at that as well.
How can platforms like DRC Mining Week, bringing together over 3,000 stakeholders, accelerate a more coordinated and impactful agenda for women's inclusion across the mining sector?
Something I think is, and we've been talking about it yesterday with some of the HR people, so we currently focusing on seeing the DRC Mining Week as a huge event, but behind that I think we need to put in place, I don't know if it exists already, but maybe make sure that it has more impact, is making sure that every recommendation that are made here are followed up, and then next year, before we gather together again, we might oblige some of the stakeholders to give the result or the outcome, or how they are progressing with the recommendation that has been made. Because otherwise it will be just an event where we are together sitting, talking about interesting topics, but nothing else is happening.
Of course. Tekla, thank you so much for joining us today.